On a weekend of shocks and surprises in the Rugby League World Cup, England would ultimately not fall foul of another in Melbourne, winning 36-6 against a Papua New Guinea side who were earmarked as a major threat. That in itself is a major positive. 4 games into the tournament though, and you suspect England are still capable of more, and how they will need it next week when they face Tonga in the World Cup semi-final. It is perhaps easy to focus on the negatives, primarily England's lackluster completion rate, but there were positives against PNG, and if Bennett's team get it right against Tonga, a first World Cup final in 22 years is within reach. Patchy England into Rugby League World Cup last 4, as it happened read more. Papua New Guinea spent the group stages scoring tries at will, but in what will undisputedly be the biggest positive for Bennett, England's defensive efforts were excellent, allowing their opponents only 1 try. By the time Gary Lowe had scored it on the hour mark, England's place in the last 4 was long since assured. But whether it is the World Cup, Super League or a run-around in the Yorkshire Men's League, a completion rate hovering around 50% is simply not good enough. This was, as Bennett succinctly put it in his press conference, the good, the bad and the ugly from England. There is a fair argument to be had that, as long as England are winning knockout games, perhaps it matters little how well they are playing. But next weekend, the opposition will significantly improve and England cannot afford to be so careless anymore. This was a performance which had all the hallmarks of England's group campaign. There was more than enough to get the job done, and on the occasions England clicked, they were very good, but there were simply too many mistakes, and Bennett would have been forgiven for tearing out the precious little hair he has on his head, because if they are so indifferent next week, England's tournament could be over. To their credit, Papua New Guinea's cause was not helped by the loss of their captain, David Mead, inside the opening 2 minutes. He was involved in an eye-watering collision with Luke Gale, and the departure of one of their most experienced players clearly impacted PNG. They had only conceded 12 points in their 3 group games, but by halftime, England had more than doubled that tally, as has been the case for so much of this World Cup. England's greatest success came down their right side, and Jermaine McGillivray scored his 5th and 6th tries of the tournament there early in the match, following good work from Callum Watkins and Kevin Brown. There was a 3rd try for England as half-time approached, again the pressure telling on the PNG defence, this time allowing Alex Walmsley to reach over. However, more errors with ball in hand prevented that 14-0 lead from being extended further, and there was an underlying sense of frustration that England were not further ahead by halftime. Brown did not return after halftime, but the introduction of James Roby from the bench once again gave England added zip around the ruck. He looks England's strongest hooker over Josh Hodgson, but Bennett seems intent on introducing the St Helens pivot from the bench. Roby's introduction did not prevent England's error count from rising, but there were encouraging moments of promise in attack. Gareth Widdop's incisive kick for Ben Curry to touchdown was certainly one of them. Before 2 tries from Watkins, both created by McGillivray, were sandwiched between PNG's only moment of joy as the Castleford winger, Lowe, scored. There was also still time for another try, this time from Ryan Hall, his 34th for England in as many tests. It has been another fascinating weekend. Lebanon almost eliminated Tonga. New Zealand actually did go out, so the fact England are still in contention is, for them, the most important point of all. However, things are about to get a whole lot more interesting next week in Auckland. England: Widdop, McGillivray, Watkins, Bateman, Hall, Brown, Gale, Hill, Hodgson, Graham, S. Burgess, Whitehead, O'Loughlin, interchange Walmsley, T. Burgess, Curry, Roby, Tries McGillivray 2. Walmsley, Curry, Watkins 2. Hall. Goals Widdop 4. Papua New Guinea Mead, Olam. Audio. McDonald, Lowe, Aboaz, W. Boaz, Meninga, Segayaro, Page, Martin, Minoga, Ayitone, Interchange Baptiste, Amian, Albert, Griffin, Tries Low, Goals Martin, Referee James Child, England, Attendance 10, 563.